Okay, this is David Herman for Web Marketing for Dentists, talking to you about closed offices and what our dentists are doing right now in order to keep up their marketing and build their pipeline for when COVID is over. Here we go. It is time to work a little differently. We're going to start to do video consults. But why video consults now? Well, patients are off work and school. They have time. They have time to meet you virtually. Dentists, you have the time as well. If your office is closed, you may be busy doing a lot of things, tying up some loose ends, but you have the time. In fact, one of the things you should be doing straight away is spending some time talking to leads that you already have generated through past campaigns. You should have old leads in the Lead Hub system that you can go back to. If you don't recognize them, if they have never showed up, you should reach out to them, explain that you as the dentist want to speak to them. Texting is often a good way to initiate that kind of contact. And people appreciate that you have time to speak to them, which is not the usual state of affairs, but now you do. Video consult specials are being offered by a number of our dentists right now to get people to come in for cosmetic consults, implant consults, all-on-4 consults, orthodontic consults. Obviously, these are video consults, but what those enable you to do is create a connection right now, educate, and fill the pipeline later with people that are very likely to want to do the work with you at the end of the day. Also, AdWords costs are down. Google Ads is cheaper than it has ever been because Google is an auction-based system. So auctions tend to inflate when you have 20, 30 competitors in the marketplace. Now in many places, the number of competitors has dropped to half, a quarter sometimes of the people that were competing before. And very few of them are actually actively offering video consults. And we're seeing that as we do more video consult advertising, we're getting more people to sign up for them. They think it's a good idea. It's what they want to do. And frankly, they're a little bit scared of you. And they prefer to see you by video first and not be surrounded by, dangerous pokey tools and drills. So, okay. HIPAA and software apps. Often this comes up as the next question. We hear from people all the time that because of HIPAA and a need for a special software app, that maybe you can't move forward because you have to work out which is the right video platform for you to use. You should know right now that there is no issue anymore. You can go to the Department of Health and Human Services. The requirements for HIPAA-compliant video conferencing platforms have been temporarily suspended. You can use whatever you want as an audio or video communication technology in order to speak and provide consults to your patients. So that should reassure you. We'll give you some recommendations in a moment. Let's first of all talk about what we're doing when we are talking to people before we do the clinical work. This is just a reminder. Many of you will know this already. First step is we have to qualify the lead. The lead said that they wanted a dental implant, let's say. First of all, you have to find out, is this the person that needs the implant? Are they representing somebody else? Are they calling for their husband or for their mother? You have to find out exactly what the problem is. People often think that there's a solution that they have in their head. You may have other ideas about what possible solutions are. And you also need to just connect with the patient on a social level, on a human level. Start to befriend them. They live in the same neighborhood as you, presumably. You may have some things in common, but that's something that you can start to emphasize right now. Next stage is diagnosing what the patient's actual needs are. You can do that obviously using video to a certain extent. Maybe for orthodontics, you could see what the structure of the teeth is, how much crowding there is, and those are things that you can tell from video. If there's a missing tooth, of course, you can see that. So there are many things that you can just use video for. You can also start to educate them a little bit about possible solutions, maybe propose some best solutions or the solutions that you prefer, or maybe there's one solution that you prefer, and also start to emphasize to them the ramifications of not taking care of this to try to increase their desire once the whole COVID-19 crisis is over, that they will come to you and actually want to do this quite quickly. Next stage is presenting. You can share a solution that you have in mind for them, and we'll talk about how you can get some of their photos. So you can do a screen share and show them photos that they have sent you of their own teeth, and then perhaps demonstrate some past successes by showing before and afters of your own patient's teeth that seem similar to the case that you're being presented with the new patient. And then finally, the close is coming to an agreement, and that may be a financial agreement. We'll talk about that momentarily, but certainly an intent to take care of this issue as soon as possible once the COVID issue has been resolved. Okay, second thing that we want to talk about is the type of tools that we propose using. So we're talking about, at first, using WhatsApp or FaceTime, which FaceTime is everywhere on an iPhone, and WhatsApp is everywhere on Android and also on iPhones. So WhatsApp is actually the slightly more popular app. But both of them are used regularly. People are used to doing video conversations with their family, with their friends. So this is going to be something that they will all find very easy. You may find it a little bit more difficult, but the general populace is well aware of video technology and is very used to using it in those particular formats. That is a great entry level for qualifying for somebody, for seeing if this is somebody that you want to work with, for them to see if you are the right kinds of people for them to work with. So all of those things are great options using WhatsApp and FaceTime. The next thing to think about when you get a little bit more serious and you want to do some more discovery and more presentation is to think about Zoom. Zoom, of course, has become super famous as the screen share app. There are many other screen share apps that you could use. We're recommending Zoom because it seems to be just part of the zeitgeist right now is using Zoom. A little bit more detail on this. What we're really proposing is that you use, for your first meeting, something that is easy and very connective. It's easy because everyone has them. WhatsApp and FaceTime should be your go-to for the first meeting. That's your triage meeting. That's so that you can interview them, see if they're a good client for you. They can interview you, see if you're a good dentist for them. Then, if everything seems to be going well, you can move it towards another meeting, which will involve a set of pictures from them of their own teeth, which we'll talk about shortly. And that would involve the second meeting, which uses Zoom, which means you can see their face, they can see your face, but mainly it's so that you can look at a screen together. You can look at a screen with shots of their teeth on it, shots of other people's teeth that you have worked on to show them the solutions that you've already applied to your existing patients that could be solutions for them. It's not such an easy solution. It's a little bit more complicated than WhatsApp and FaceTime. It's not quite as simple as having the other person's cell phone number, which is all that you need for WhatsApp and FaceTime, but it still is completely understandable for, it's understandable right now for the youngest of our school children, so you guys are definitely going to get it. Okay. Again, WhatsApp and FaceTime. FaceTime is just the iPhone. WhatsApp, Android, and the iPhone. So if you're only going to use one of them, probably WhatsApp is the one to go for because it covers both really. Now, what is the goal for the first meeting? First meeting is really about being face-to-face as much as you can be. You're really seeing the other person on a video consult. It's also going to be at this time home-to-home, which also has an extra personalized feel to it. Also, the benefit is they're not sitting in a chair and being surrounded by sharp objects. No scary equipment around. You're probably not going to wear your white coat or scrubs or a mask. You're going to look like a regular person, which is going to help them get over their general fear of dentists and dentistry. You can connect over just local things. You live in the same area. Maybe your kids or grandkids went to the same school. That's obviously something you do on a social level. And then you can discuss big goals for their smile, have them smile in front of the camera, point out areas that are problems in their mouth, just so you get a general idea of who they are. So it's really it's just a general meeting where you're checking each other out. Then if you feel it's worth moving forward, you can set up for the next meeting. And you can ask them to take some photos, and you put them in charge of taking the photos. So here's our recommendation for that. Here's a extremely good-looking model that we used with a spoon and an iPhone. 5 simple steps for us to take photos with just those 2 implements. And I actually went ahead and did it. This is me, of course. There we go, 5 different shots. I've got my spoon as my fake extender there on the left and the right. I've got an up shot and a down shot on 3 and 4, and then 5 is my smile, with my teeth together and my face in a horrible grimace. So it worked. It came out pretty well. There's the shot that I took with just an iPhone. It isn't even the latest iPhone, but the quality of the photography is pretty amazing. Upper, lower, side. The light there, by the way, is actually the reflection of the flash off the inside of the spoon. It actually makes it look like I have some kind of device in there, but I really don't. It's just having the flash working on the iPhone. So there's stuff to talk about here. I mean, I even saw stuff that I didn't realize I had on my teeth as I looked at these. My kids were completely freaked out by it, but I have a few tips for you to pass on to people. If you can have someone else help you, then that's a good thing. It seems to be the younger the better. They just understand the technology and they seem to be taking photos just all the time. These are people who, ever since they had an iPhone, have just never not had a camera with them. So totally different generation. But they are very helpful. And it's also helpful if you can use 2 hands to extend your cheek with the spoon or hold your lips up and out of the way. Keeping the flash on is really useful as well. Do not put it on auto. Just make sure it's on. Force it to activate. And then also taking pictures outside just was generally better for the lighting. Made a huge difference in the quality of the pictures. So if people can just step outside into the daylight, that would be helpful. So, okay, so then, presuming that those were good enough photos and you got those photos, here's how the second meeting would go. And we're calling this meeting the meeting that is towards a closing. It can't really be, in a traditional sense, the closing meeting, but here's I think what we can do. First of all, you're developing the relationship that you already triaged in the first meeting. So you're not having this with somebody that you didn't think would make a good patient for you for whatever reason. Now hopefully they like you, they know you, they trust you from FaceTime and WhatsApp. They now can be educated by you. You should educate them on their problems, explain the problem and the ramifications. You should also have all possible solutions that you walk them through. You can suggest the best solution, and then you can also show them before and afters of that particular solution to show them that you've already done what you're recommending they should do. And you can close the deal if possible. Zoom is pretty easy to sign up for. It's completely free. Actually, many of the HIPAA compliant tools and pieces of software actually use Zoom in the background. They'll send you an email, you go back in, you sign up, you schedule a new meeting. Here's how you do the scheduling part. And then you get a URL that you can send to them, you text it to them, you email it to them, and you're basically all ready to go. You start the meeting. Once you actually get into Zoom, if you want to download the app, it actually makes things much simpler, I think. The app kind of sits at the bottom, it sits on your desktop, and makes things much, much easier. So here's yours truly about to share his screen. That share button at the bottom, it just says share, but it actually means share your screen. I, for a while, did think it meant share the link to the meeting or share a document or share something. I didn't know it meant I'm going to be sharing my screen, but I just wanted to emphasize that's what it means. So that green button is the key button so you can share your screen and show them their pictures and then also your before and afters. You choose which window to share and then you click. And then, of course, the first thing is to show them these great photos that they've taken of themselves. And then you give them before and afters that are much better than these. This is just a standard one that we had in-house. You obviously want to show them things that are very similar to how they present to you and to the issues that they have described to you, and show them that you can do the solution in exactly the right way. Here's some of the advertising that we're doing right now, promoting implants, dentures, all-on-4 implants, all with, you can see we're pushing inside the ad the fact that we have a free video consult available, and those are proving to be very popular, and people are calling up, doing the video consults. And part of doing the video consults, by the way, is you have to give accurate information. If you want the video consult, it has to be your actual cell phone number. So that's great. Mostly these people are easy to contact afterwards. You text back and forth with them, find a time that works for both of you, and then you just move forward. This is a sign-up page that we have used pretty extensively for our campaigns. You can see that you can select at the bottom there the preferred contact method: WhatsApp, Zoom, FaceTime. Sometimes people just go straight to Zoom, and they're getting so comfortable with it that they prefer it to WhatsApp and FaceTime. I would say that that's, it occasionally happens, but mostly people like WhatsApp, FaceTime for the first meeting. We actually have the procedure gets pulled from the landing page that they're on. So if they're interested in implants, it'll come from the implant page, and that information will be pulled into here without the patient having to put that information on here. So you'll know what they're interested in without them having to tell you on this form. And then the other thing that we don't have on this form that you might be missing is a time and a date when they want to actually meet. We found that it's not beneficial to try to pin them down at that point. First of all, you're asking them to make a decision on something which they just know they want to meet with you. They're not sure when. Everybody's timetables are kind of in flux right now. So they just want to send the form. Let them send the form. Send them a text immediately afterwards, or as soon as you can after you receive it, and say, hey, when's a good time for you? Or give them a time that works for you and see if that's good for them. And you'll negotiate a time that works. So that is the offering right now for people that have closed offices, and that's something that we can apply for our clients straight away.